First question is coming from Aaron Fentress with the Oregonian.
Dame, it's your first game back in a while. How do you feel physically? You came out red hot, but then you cooled off a bit. Were you impacted at all from your hamstring at all, or any type of fatigue from coming back? Or you got rested?
I wasn't affected by my hamstring. I felt pretty fresh. I think over the course of the game, I just, when you sit out a while and you come back and you play high minutes, I feel like it wears on you. In my mind, I'm not thinking about it, but when I think about missing short and some of the possessions, I probably wore down a little bit more than I would typically. But I felt pretty good.
Orlando Sanchez, KGW.
Hey, Dame, what are some of the big takeaways from this game? You're always so optimistic. Where do you see the silver lining in a game like this?
I mean, we had a game against Boston. We had a game against the Clippers. And then tonight where it came down to the final possessions. We had opportunities. If CJ hits his shot last game, we're talking about that. And if Norm's floater goes in tonight, we're talking about that. I think because, we competed. I thought we defended pretty well. I don't know what they had, 105, 106. I don't think that's a bad defensive game at all. I just think, we didn't make shots down the stretch, at the level that we needed to. I know I had some looks that felt good coming off my hand that didn't go in. We just didn't make the shots. And down the stretch, they got the whistle. They made the shots. And we still came up with a big defensive play and had the last shot. We just missed it. So, I think we continue to defend the way that we've been, focus on our defense and getting better in that area. And I feel like the offense will come around, but it needs to come around with our defense like now. We can't say eventually or nothing like that. It needs to come around now.
Christos Salta, Sport DNA.
Hello, Dame. How frustrated for your teams to lose 3 games in the last shot, and what do you need to improve detail-wise?
I mean, I don't think it's a team in the league that's won more of those games than we have. So I think, it's not really saying, we need to improve. I think overall, obviously, we need to improve. But in those moments, that's usually when we are at our best. If we've done anything well this season, it's been perform in those last 5-6 minutes and, win those close games. But the thing about that is it balances out. And, we had our fair share for the first, 2/3 of the season. We won our fair share of them. And I think the bounce just hasn't gone our way in the last 3 games that is going that way, and there's reasons behind that, that we could, I guess, give ourselves a better chance at not even being in that position. But the games that do come down to that, I think we've won our fair share. The last few that we've lost, I feel like we've competed and we've defended. We just haven't been able to, to knock down the shots that we typically would.
Casey Holdall, trailblazers.com.
Damian, how would you say you guys have done with playing with a lead? Because tonight you guys lock them up for the first half of the second quarter and end up going in to the half down 3. You go up 10 points in the third quarter, end up only up 3 by the fourth. And it seems like there's just a lull there when you guys get up even by like 5 or 6 that it kind of the bottom drops out. And I'm curious what you're seeing out there.
I mean, we got a bad habit of working hard and putting possessions together and putting stretches together, and then we relax. I think the best teams, I always say, they're able to sustain it. If it's a bad possession, it's like they have a good defensive possession, they give up an offensive rebound, or somebody gets hit on the screen and it's a miscommunication. Happens sometimes, but for the most part, the good defensive teams are able to sustain that communication and that focus on the defensive end. And even on the offensive end, when the good teams play a certain way, and they're having success, they're able to continue that, without thinking that, it was easy, or we can go away from it, or we can still get it done if we try something different. They sustain that level of focus, offensively with execution and defensively with the principles and the scouting report and things like that. And I think when we build up leads, that's when we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're communicating, we're playing physical, we're taking the challenge, we're rebounding the ball. And we build a 10-point lead or 8-point lead, and then we feel like we got room, and we just relax, and you can see it and you can feel it sometimes where it's like, well, 2 minutes ago that they wouldn't have got that cut. 2 minutes ago we would have came up with that rebound. So it's like that urgency and that focus, it can't waver. When it's up and down and you playing against good teams, they'll make you pay for it. They'll get themselves back in the game like tonight, and then you'll have yourself in a game that could go either way. And, tonight didn't go our way. But, like I said, if we were able to sustain what we did in the second quarter and the third quarter, maybe that lead is 14 or 16. And now, it's a lot harder for them to fight their way back into the game later in the game. And we pull it out. But, I think that's what it is, just being able to sustain it. And we just haven't been able to do that.
Thanks, Dan.
DJ McCord, Coin.
Dame, what do you think is the key to developing the consistency so that there isn't a wavering in energy or focus in those stretches?
I'm not sure how to answer that. It's, we've played, 58 games? We got 14 games left. At this point, it's like, you're not just going to magically find it, You're not just going to, 59th game, turn into a team that puts 48 minutes together and do it perfectly. And in reality, I don't think no team does it for 48 minutes, but I think we could be better at sustaining it to finish a quarter, like we'll play good for part of the first quarter and then it'll, be a run. And then like Casey said, we'll start off the second quarter really well, and then they'll close the lead or take the lead like tonight at the half. And then we'll play well in the third quarter, and then we just don't finish the quarter. So at least if we're able to not have such a drop off, if it's like, all right, we have a bad 2 possessions and then we tighten up, and then we have a 5-minute stretch and then we have a bad possession where it's a miscommunication or a backdoor or offensive rebound to a 3. If it happens in between, then I think, we doing a lot for ourselves. We making up for a lot of things that we struggle with. But like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but we could do a much better job of not having such big drop-offs. It's like it's either high or low. It's never just in the middle, or, we just doing a good enough job, even if we're not playing great. It's always like we either up 12 and we're doing great, and then the team calls a timeout and we come out of the timeout and it's like the lead is erased to 2 in 2 minutes, So we just got to be better about that. I think that's the thing that we need to focus on when we find ourselves in those situations where we playing well, we build a lead. It's like, all right, here we are. Like, what are we going to do? We got to make our minds up in that moment, and we got to address the fact that we struggle in those moments.
Dwight James, NBC Sports Northwest.
Dame, I'm curious how you feel about you guys are using fewer pick and rolls. You're running, a little different stuff than you did before. That was really pretty successful. How are you feeling about how that's going and the development of that style for you guys?
I think since I've been here, primarily since my 4th year when we had the first roster turnover, when LA and everybody in Batum, everybody left. Me and CJ being ball handlers and scorers and playmakers, we played a lot out of pick and roll. And we've kind of looked to that. That's been like our bread and butter. And, I know Coach likes to pass the ball. He likes ball movement. We always one of the teams at the bottom of the league in assists, even though I think we do make the right plays. And, some teams just pass the ball 6 times to start a possession when it's really, it's really not attacking. It's just like the ball go from side to side to start a possession. We've never been that team. And, it's just been more of an emphasis on us doing that. And I think that's what we're trying to do. I think just trying to do what's asked and that's more movement and more screening and, creating action for each other with screens and passing. So I always said, if that's what we're going to do, then we do it. We'll fall into pick and rolls and we'll have our chances at that too. But, I think it's been obvious that we've been playing that way because it's been more of an emphasis.
Time for one more coming from Aaron Fentress with the Oregonian.
Damian, you mentioned all the inconsistencies in that 58 games. How can you just magically turn it on? Is that on the players, or does Coach Stotts need to do something to get the players to not have these lapses?
I mean, we NBA players. I think you have coaches for a reason. I think our staff, our assistant coaches, Terry, I think they do a great job in preparing us to go out there and get ready for games with knowing players' tendencies, knowing what sets they like to run, knowing what they've done in the last 5-6 games, knowing who's playing well on each team, knowing what they hurt us with the previous time we played them and the things that we had success with against them. I think they do a great job with that. But I think, like I said, we professionals and, we've all been in this league for some time and we've all been on successful teams and we know what it takes. So I think the only way to correct it this late in the season, obviously our coaches, like I said, they're going to do what they do. They've always done it. But at this point, it has to come from us. I think obviously it's things that our coaches will address and they'll, try to be creative and give us different things to help us improve. But at the end of the day, it comes down to our desire. How bad do we want it? How much do we want it to be better? How much do we want it to change from what it's been? And, I think that's when you'll see it, when we collectively as a group decide, this is where we got to improve now. It's not going to go from whatever we ranked in defense to number 10 or number 5, but, we could be much better than we are. So it's up. I think it's more up to us as players than, the coaches. They can't go on the court and save us.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. We're up there.